This the Prince of the Nightlife, DJ Melly Mel. Now tuned into the biggest Shenelle Simone, April B, Flu Head, Grew Head podcast. Are you dumb? NYC, the ATL. Yeah, Brooklyn, what up?
What's up, y'all?
Shit,
What's up? We are back. Y'all know who it is. Flu Here, Grew Here podcast, where worlds collide no matter where you reside. I am your girl, April B, your favorite media maven.
And you already know it is your girl, Shenelle Simone, your favorite Brooklyn babe.
And today, the two Brooklyn baddies have a very, very, very special guest because, y'all, this guest is power of manifestation. That's what we're going to say. We're going to say that she is the power of manifestation. When you want something and you believe it and you work hard towards it, this is the result. So without further ado, we have Miss Kerri Ann T. Thompson in the building from Brooklyn T.
Y'all, and if y'all don't know about, give it up. We got the virtual claps going on, y'all. And if you don't know about Brooklyn T, baby, when I tell you, that's the place where dreams come true. Let's just say that. Starting Flu Here, Grew Here podcast, honestly, when it was just a thought before, when we found our producer, when I got with April, honestly, our first meeting was at Brooklyn T. We used to go twice a week?
Yeah.
We used to go twice a week, and every time, then finally I researched it, and I was like, Kerri Ann, I was like, who's Tona? I was on her page, I'm like, who is this? And April, let me tell you something, April. I told April this, when I was starting my media journey, right? Back in 2021, I pretty much had a list of people that I wanted to work with, right? So I had a whole bunch of screenshots of Boss Up, Ebony Magazine, and one in particular, that one thing about me, I rep New York to the fullest. I do. I love my Caribbean culture. I'm from Trinidad, but
Jamaica,
but I love anything with Brooklyn. So literally, I told April, I said, yo, you know what's funny? April 10th, 2021, I screenshotted that y'all was doing First Saturdays, I believe it was, right? I told April, I said, yo, April, I think I still got the screenshot of this is an organization I wanted to work with. Behold, I literally have the screenshot that says April 10th, 2021, that Brooklyn T was on my radar to work with. And now here we are, April.
That's why I said power of manifestation.
What today is? Today is April 10th.
Wow, that's scary.
Let's go. That's crazy.
April 10th, 2023.
Yo, I got chills.
I didn't even, look at me, wait,
I
what
got
today
chills.
is? 2 years
Wow.
later, guys, of me screenshotting Brooklyn T.
The power of manifestation.
I didn't even know she was going to do that intro.
It just came to me like, wow.
Wow.
So, y'all, 2 years later, I had Brooklyn T on my vision board, and here we are 2 years later. So, y'all, give me another round of applause.
Yes, let's welcome Kerri Ann, y'all. Let's welcome Kerri Ann.
Here we are today. And first of all, Kerri Ann,
I'm honored. First of all, I'm honored that we were even a part of that vision board. Like, that's just, I tell people all the time, like, Brooklyn Tea was designed to really build community. And I tell people it's not just a tea shop, it's not just a coffee shop, it's truly a place in which people come, sit down, meet each other. Like, I met y'all from just like being in there, right? And love the energy and like just really mess with y'all. And like, that's just truly like what it's about. I tell people that people sit down and draft their business plans in Brooklyn Tea. They write their proposals in Brooklyn Tea. They have meetings in Brooklyn Tea. They take, Zoom meetings for promotions in Brooklyn Tea. It's like, that's truly like what we're trying to do. So to hear it firsthand, thank y'all.
No, thank you. So look, before we get into the check-in with Kerri Ann, we're going to play a little game.
All right.
Whoop, whoop. So listen, y'all know how we like to do to break the ice. We got a game called First Class versus Coach. So pretty much we have a cup today full of topics and stuff. We're gonna let Kerri Ann pick. We might pick. You never know how it goes. Either way, the topics in there, you have to tell us if you like it, then it's first class. If you don't like it, then it's coach. Okay. Now, if there is a tie, then you do have to take a shot of your water.
Got it.
Now, you already know Bomb Vodka is the sponsor of the First Class versus Coach, but baby, everybody don't drink, and that's fine, but make sure y'all get you some Bomb Vodka.
Exactly.
Now, I know y'all used to the fishbowl, but
listen.
Hey, baby.
And for our listeners, know
for the drink.
It is, so
Good little red cup.
So Kerri Ann, we're gonna let you start. You
do two more.
Ooh, chamomile versus green tea.
Caramel versus green
No,
tea.
chamomile.
Oh.
Chamomile tea.
I'm like, caramel? What type of tea?
Well, being that Brooklyn tea, and shout out, because we are Brooklyn tea besties.
Hey, y'all
She
definitely
deemed us
are.
that. So, being that it is a tea place, and you
Yes.
guys have tea from all over the world.
Yes.
Yes.
But, you know, chamomile and green tea seem to be super popular amongst, you know, the regulars, we're going to call them. Which one would you say is first class, and which one would you say is coach?
So I'm gonna say based on what you need. I personally need to relax.
So green.
So I'm gonna go with
Chamomile.
Caramel.
It's
Okay.
gonna like put you
To
to
sleep.
sleep, relax you a little bit, and
I love a
think I
good,
never had
I
caramel
love a good
tea.
lavender and chamomile tea.
yeah, like
mhm.
right before you go to
The
bed,
bed.
it's just a good. It's a good, you know, good one to like
Wow.
go to bed to. Yeah.
Okay, y'all gonna have to put me on that. I could have sworn it said caramel. I'm like, what type?
We got caramel tea too.
Right.
Brooklyn tea, you know,
Listen.
we got 50
They
teas
got
over there.
50. I was just about to say. That's why I said they got tea from all over, y'all.
Yes.
You're not coming there for lavender tea. Like, you can, but I mean,
What's the other
they
green
had a
one? Is
mango
it-
hibiscus one I had one
Yeah.
time. I was like, yo, remember I had bought it twice. It was for the block party.
It was for the block.
And I had bought it twice that day. I was like,
Yes.
let me get one more.
And first of all, I got the tequila. Is what I say?
Tequila.
Tequila. Baby, one thing about me, I need a drink.
Look, now don't go
and
there.
I'm gonna get into tea and all that. I was like, liquor with tea? Give me that.
Don't go there and ordering our stuff and selling it out though, because
No.
I need at least one when I go.
Wait, I need y'all to come and sell
Well,
it
we
out.
want y'all to go sell it out, but listen, leave at least one for me.
Got it,
At
got
least
it, got
one.
it, got it.
Go ahead.
You're a Brooklyn Tea bestie, we're gonna hold in the back.
We're gonna hold in the back. Exactly.
Oh, okay. Charter schools versus public schools. Now this is a good one.
Okay.
And here's the thing, because I would say neither.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this is probably one where I drink to.
Okay.
I drink if it's
Water,
like
H2O. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I don't
Look,
drink.
when they say mind my business and drink my water,
I'm gonna drink water and mind my business.
hey,
So here's why. Like, I am pro good schools.
okay.
Right? Like, so there are good charter schools, there are good public schools, there are not so great charter schools, there
Yeah.
are not so great public schools. So because of that, it's like I'm pro good schools.
Okay.
Like, to me, regardless of what type of school you are, is about doing right by children. It's
Okay.
about doing right by the families that we serve. And if you're not about that life, then I'm not here for it.
Gotcha.
And I think
Okay.
that's like my biggest thing. So
Gotcha.
that's a good one.
That's a
How you feel about homeschool? Oh, well, you said pretty much if it's beneficial.
If it's good, if it's
good.
beneficial, right? So like if you're doing it because you're trying to get a check, or if you're doing it out of convenience for you,
Yeah,
if you're
then
doing
that's
it
not-
because you're like that's at the end of the day is about, you know, what's best for the individual child. And
Yeah.
some children, that is a great setting for them. For some, that is not a great setting for them. So it's
Exactly.
really about you like truly focusing on them and them getting what it is that
they need.
Gotcha.
Oh, y'all playing. Y'all
What?
played this whole time. Brooklyn versus Atlanta. Now listen. I'm gonna drink on it. Here's why, right? I'm
Your
gonna
boy
drink on it.
going. Look.
I actually love the title of this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
You know why? Because here's the thing. Like, I, you know, grew up in Brooklyn. Born and raised,
Yep.
Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy,
Right.
back home.
Bed-Stuy.
Bob, all the things, right? But where I grew and like truly like thought about like who I wanted to become, it was here in Atlanta because
Right.
I went to school here, right?
Yep.
I was 17 years old, you know, fresh off the Greyhound. The
Yep.
Greyhound dropped me off in front
Girl,
of
did
Magic
we
City.
come together? Look, I'm
You
like,
came at
I
17,
came
right?
at 17 straight off the Greyhound.
Yeah,
I'm like,
Greyhound. And I'm like, wait, what? Where's Spelman? I see the strip club.
Wait.
I'm
I
like,
was just about to say, what you got dropped off at?
What's happening?
Magic City?
Magic City. But Spelman changed my life. It like legit changed my life. It changed like just being in a different environment, right?
Yeah.
Like took me out of like what I knew to be true. And what I say is that both of them, Brooklyn and Atlanta, are critical locations that made me who I am today. Like I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for both of them. I always
Yes.
say I could sit at any table. Because I grew up in Brooklyn. I know how to move. I'm resourceful. I'm
Right,
hustler.
right.
Like I'm all of that, right? And you know, Spelman was more like refined me and was just like, look, like here are the tools. It's in you,
Yeah.
right?
Right,
Like
right.
your potential and who you are and your best version. It's all in you. But like they just really refined me and was like, hey, in this type of setting,
Right.
move like this. Be still authentically you,
Uh-huh.
but move a certain kind of way so you can navigate a different kind of space. And
Absolutely.
that's like why both places are critical to who I am. So Brooklyn T being in Atlanta means so much to me because it's
Exactly.
like, yeah, I'm from here, and this place truly molded like who you're seeing right now.
Yo, that's crazy. That was our first episode where we talked about like who we felt like flew and grew and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And we had the exact same answer. Like
The exact
Brooklyn
same
is
answer.
instilled in us, like that hustler mentality, that never sleep mentality.
Yep.
You always gotta go and get it.
Yep.
But Atlanta really shaped us to being these business forward women,
Yep.
knowing us, because in Brooklyn, I feel like my setting was so similar every time I walked out the door. But in Atlanta, if I'm in Gwinnett, because I came when Gwinnett didn't look like all of us. Like I went to Grayson High School, and Grayson was predominantly white, and I had to figure out how to navigate in that. Grayson was just starting, so it was a bunch of people there, and they was just looking like, oh, y'all really moving here, and I had to learn how to navigate
Exactly,
that.
maneuver.
So Atlanta really taught us how to just be able to be chameleons in rooms where we can blend in but still shine.
Right.
And Brooklyn gave me that courage and that fight to keep going no matter,
Right.
and kick down them doors.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Right. That's what I said. I've learned about being a black woman living in Atlanta. You know, like I said, I moved earlier. I moved here when I was 14, but I've honestly learned so much. It's to the point where when I go to New York, it's a lot of stuff that New York don't even know about. You know, pretty much whether it's with the civil rights movement, or just period. It's like I learned about HBCUs when I got to Georgia. I know some people in New York still kind of like, oh, what's fraternity? So like they heard about it, but it's not as deep as it is down here. Hell, I learned how to drive. I learned how to drive.
yeah, I
guys.
definitely did
I
learn
I
how
got
to
friends
drive
who
down here.
still nervous to parallel park.
Yeah, nah,
I
that's
learned how
facts.
to drive here, but I got my license in New York.
Okay. Oh, you a bad one.
So I know you
got
be
the-
whipping
Yeah, I
that
didn't have to
test.
parallel. I
Oh.
did have to, but I bought the Tesla because it drives itself.
Right. Okay.
There you go.
All right, baby. We
There
got
you
one more in here. This is the finale.
right,
And we're going to dig deep with the check-in.
All right.
Let's see.
Spelman versus Albany State.
Oh,
First class Spelman.
Wait, hold on. Wait, our producer. Our producer did that on purpose.
Yo,
No, our producer
Yo.
really did that on purpose, y'all.
First of all, hold
because
on.
they now I'm gonna have to
Hold
hear
on.
Shenelle
Hold
mouth
on,
like.
let me say this, because this is where me and Kerri Ann might not even be friends. So let me tell y'all a quick story. So once again, we went to the block party, right? Her 2-year anniversary, correct?
1 year.
1 year.
1 year.
And one thing about Shenelle, I know DJ Supreme. I saw Mike. I was like, snatched it, right?
She was
I was like,
amazing.
I asked her too. I said, yo, don't be surprised. You know what? I told her. I said, don't be
I'll be
surprised
right.
if you
I said,
hear me
go
on this mic. She said, go ahead. So I'm over here like, okay, Nuck, if you buck, come on. I'm like, hey. I was like, shout out to the best HBCU. As soon as I said Albany State, I don't even know where she came from. Like the last time I checked, she was inside. I didn't even get the Albany State. That might. I was like, son, like my wig almost flew off.
Oh,
like,
girl.
yo. The last time I checked, you was inside.
Like you know where you at.
Last time I checked, she was inside giving people hugs. Like, where did she? So I was like, yo, let me shout out my school. So, baby, but only we could do that. Shout out to Albany State University,
Listen.
the unsinkable.
Listen, HBCUs across the board, like it's all love whenever we like do the whole rivalry type.
Yeah.
stuff. Like
Right.
it's love everywhere you put it. So I want to make sure that everybody gets that and understands that. But we also know
Yo.
the number one.
When I tell you, she didn't even come from the front. It was like through my wig, like. I'm like, I was like, okay, you can hit it right back. Trying to sneak it in there, y'all. That was the first
Shout out to our
class.
producer for that, because
Right.
that one right
That was a
there,
good
baby,
one.
that was a good one.
I'm happy
Shout
I
India.
said keep going. I'm like, wait,
Oh,
what?
oh.
This is good.
That was good,
Right. Shout out
y'all.
to the first class versus coach segment, y'all. Give it up, give it up, give it up.
I don't know what's wrong with our applause today, people.
Okay. What's up, everyone? It is your girl, Shenelle Simone.
And your girl April B of the Flew Here, Grew Here podcast. And I'm here to tell y'all about this bomb-ass vodka, Bombade.
Baby, when I tell you this is vodka, but it's not the typical vodka that you used to.
Okay.
All right.
Now listen, y'all, it's in 125 locations across 11 states, a black-owned business. Now listen, if you can't find it in a local spirit store next to you, make sure you run to BombayVodka.com to get yours today. We gonna see.
We got it? Okay, April. Okay, April.
Y'all gonna get a few extra applause on this episode.
Virtual applause. I actually think in life, like when we talk about like, you know, giving affirmations and in my culture is like big up yourself, right?
Yes.
Like it's the virtual applause should just be like how people operate.
Yeah.
Like, act as
Right.
if there's a button and you could just like clap for yourself.
Oh, I
Because
like that.
too many times, like, you know, there's a lot of people that's like that are rooting for you, but sometimes you don't know, right?
Yes.
But like you don't even need to know.
Yes.
You need to know that like you know what you're doing. You know how you're grinding. You know the hustle. You know your sleepless nights. You know how hard you are working. Like, give yourself a virtual round of applause. Like, but act like you got that button and you can press it for yourself because
I
you need
love
to.
that.
So
Yes.
I'm here for the button.
Yay! All right, y'all. So let's get on the check-in with Kerri Ann. So Kerri Ann, for the people that don't know you like we know you, or like we think we know you because you are bestie, tell them who you are, what you do, and all of that.
Yeah, so I am a, you know, sister. I'm a daughter. I'm an auntie. I love being an aunt.
Me too.
Oh my gosh.
Me too.
Like my nieces
Right.
and my nephew, they are my life. My best friends, their kids are my life. So if you see my page, you always see me with a kid, and that's probably that's just because I love kids.
Yeah. Right.
Love children.
So you the rich auntie?
Oh,
I'm
she
an
said,
auntie.
I'm an auntie. She's like, don't put that out there and they be calling my phone like, hey, rich auntie. I ain't got it.
I'm an auntie. But yeah, no, I love being that. Love children. So it's why like I do the work that I do. So I'm an educator.
Right.
I'm the CEO of a charter organization called Movement Schools. Shout out to Movement.
Shout out to Movement. Yes.
Yes, right now we have 3 pre-Ks, 3 elementary schools, a middle school. We're opening up another one in August. We got 2 that was approved in Charlotte and another one in Raleigh. So we're making major moves in North Carolina. We're coming to Georgia, so there's work on that. And then we're also going to Charleston, South Carolina. So there's a lot of work. There's a lot of movement happening with Movement.
Yes.
Very excited about like what we are doing and what we will continue to do in the future of education. So that's like my life. That's my career. That's what fuels me. Again, because I do love children, but more than that, I believe that it's like equity work. Like when I think about, we talked about the civil rights movement in Atlanta and like how critical that, you know, just is to our history and who we are, but we are still in this, right?
Yes,
like there are still disparities that we have to, that we're facing.
Yeah.
And there are still gaps that we need to close. When we see things like, I think it was TSU was the first HBCU to win the championship.
Yep.
So it's just like the fact that we're still making
in the
history,
first of
like,
stuff,
it's
like
2023.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's amazing, and it just shows like how much work still needs to be done.
Yep.
Just giving that example. So it was like I chose to dedicate my life and my work to equity work, and that one way that I'm doing that is through the education system. So shout out to Movement. We're connected to Movement Mortgage, so shout out to them, Movement Insurance, Movement Bank, all of that. Because of them, they are able to fund the schools. And that's why we're able to build and grow and scale as quickly. And then, of course, there's Brooklyn Tea. Shout out to my business partners, Jamila and Ali. They are the founders of Brooklyn Tea in Brooklyn. My friend Jamila, we went to college together, and that's how I basically got involved.
Wow.
A lot of people ask questions like, you know, why tea? And I'm like, it wasn't tea for me. It was my friendship with Jamila, right? Like, it was like, I want to see you win. Like, I believe in what you're doing. I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And literally just joined, right? So like that, which is why we talk about Brooklyn Tea is bigger than just a tea shop, it's bigger than coffee. It's like, it's really that community piece. Because even when you think about like how it started and in my involvement, it's all around like love. Right. Jamila and Ali, they are married.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So there's that
Shout out
love
to them.
aspect.
Saw them
Shout
on
out
Watch
to
What
them.
Happens Live.
Right. So it's their love for each other and then my love for my sister. And this is what we're doing.
Right.
So making major moves. We just found out a couple days ago, like 2 days ago, that Brooklyn Tea is now going to be in 30 cities at Saks Fifth Office.
Wow.
Whoa, give us we gotta do the hand clap for this one.
Listen.
30 cities, yeah. So you're about to be able to find Brooklyn Tea in like your favorite luxury store. Let's go.
We love
That's
it. Yes,
dope.
congratulations.
So yeah, so big deal, big things happening. We want more things, right? We want to be
Right.
on shelves. We want to be, we want to be a household name. We
Yeah.
believe that is possible. So there's a lot of like work and grind that's happening. So shout out to my partners. Shout out to what we're doing. But that's a huge part of my life, of course, because here I am balancing
Right.
being a CEO of a charter school organization as well as an owner. And just an entrepreneur in general, and it's not easy.
It's not.
To do both of these things. It requires having an amazing team, having amazing people, and it's like I have a great team at the shop where they hold it down, and I have
shout out
great,
to them.
great
Shout out to
educators.
Emmanuel.
Yeah.
We always got. He going to Morehouse, right?
Yeah.
So,
And shout out to Raven too.
I love that. Yeah, shout out to Raven. So, shout out to all the baristas. Like, here's my thing. Like, I love the fact that I went to school in the AUC and I'm able to open up a business and now, create
opportunities for
students in
the
the AUC.
AUC.
I love that. Like, it's like that's another form of like giving back and staying connected with a place that I felt like is a huge part of like who I am. So that's a glimpse of who I am.
Kerri
But
Ann.
I'm a friend. I'm a person that just really loves people.
Right.
And really just loves like, connecting with people. So that's like the biggest probably thing like about me. But like I'm also like, I love where I'm from.
Yes, we love Brooklyn.
I love that I'm from Brooklyn. Like,
Yes.
I'm just very like, I will switch up and you'll be like, whoa. I didn't know she.
What happened?
It's like, don't play with me.
Yeah, don't play with it.
One thing, and then one thing I call myself too is a triple threat in this industry. And I call myself the triple threat because number one, I have a Caribbean background, a New York background, and from the South too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's like you never know what you gonna get at all.
Right. It's like
Randomly. It's like, wait, where's she from again? Like, is that
Right.
Jamaica?
You would hear it.
Yo, she's upset. Things like that. So you have all of these accomplishments and everything that you have going on. How is your mental health? Like, how do you take care of yourself to balance out all of this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the biggest thing is that I started, when I describe myself, I started with my family because they ground you, right? Like, these are people that they knew you before anything, right? Before when your dreams were a different dream.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I used to want to do something else than what I'm doing now. And it's like your family, they've been with you through every single journey. So that's important. And that's typically who you go to whenever you are in a certain type of headspace. My friends, I'm the type of friend where I talk to my friends like frequently. Like I am like that friend because I need that.
Right.
Like I need, especially because you need an escape from the business and escape from the schools and escape from like the work that I'm doing is just so critical.
It is.
And I really feel that way. Like this is like life-changing trajectory type of work that alone could just mess with you.
Okay.
Right? Like if you don't feel like you're doing enough.
Because I would say that weight of just feeling
Oh, it's
like
heavy.
everything is on you
it's
to
heavy.
change, to get these kids from here,
it's so heavy.
to give jobs to people, to feed people. And then I know what that feels like because
Oh
I
my
used
God.
to help run a company. And that gave me anxiety. Like I had to be like, whoa, no. That literally gave me anxiety.
Everybody want to be a boss.
I
and
was just
truly
about to
don't
say that.
Understand what it takes,
yes.
right? Like what that means is that you got people's livelihoods like
in your hand, yeah.
right? Like you got their development in your hands. You got like there's a lot of weight that comes with, and it's not easy. Like
not.
I make that very clear to individuals. It's not easy. So you have to do something that you are truly passionate about because that's what's gonna keep you going.
Yep,
Like
that
if you
passion.
don't want to be in it, that's gonna show real quick.
Real
See?
quick. Because a lot of people look for stuff. I think people get confused money over passion or money over God's work. Like They feel like because you're successful, but you're not fulfilled at the same time, right? Shout out to Sarah Jakes.
Sarah Jakes Roberts for our little sermon today,
right.
baby.
You know, a lot of
We
people
stay prayed up.
Right. A lot of people confuse success with fulfillment, right? So they feel like, oh yeah, I'm a whatever you do, last tag, or I own properties, which is cool and great. I make 6 figures, like, because right now a lot of us, especially in this generation, is money by happiness, right? We don't care. We don't care about the end goal. As long as we have money, we make 6 figures. Hell, there's an inflation going on. So right now, the end goal is money. But at the same time, where we see a lot of people behind closed doors, I look at people like, oh, she just went to Turks and Caicos. She just went here and there. But yet, you see people committing suicide. You see, yet she's crying or he's crying, or you just see them unhappy, and I be confused.
Yeah.
I'm like, what you mean? You got a business, you have all of this stuff going on, but like you just said, if you don't have that passion in what you're doing, no matter how much money you make, it doesn't matter. You will never be fulfilled of your purpose.
Yeah, the what you see could really just get us twisted in terms of like what reality is. Like social media, of course, is a huge part of that, right? You scroll on your timeline and you're like, people are just killing it, and you feel like I'm not doing enough. And it's like you just don't know what's happening behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't know like truly the background, the story. And what you also don't know is like that's a lot of times people are putting up the result. They're putting up the outcome.
Right,
You're
right,
not
right.
seeing the process. You're not seeing the sleepless nights. They're not posting that. Some people do from time to time, but for the most part, they're not posting their process or how many years it took, because you'll scroll right past that. Right? Like what you're really gonna double tap is like
the goal, the end goal. Right.
Like that's what we like. But it's like, no, like when I'm over here like with 2-3 likes and 5 likes, that was me showing you the process the whole time. But now, you know, so I think we just get a little bit confused by what we are seeing and thinking like that's Turks and Caicos or da-da-da-da. And it's like, you don't know that that's their whole savings maybe that they done saved up for that
Or we
trip.
don't know what
Who
mental
knows?
state they had to do to take that trip. Like they could have been going crazy and somebody paid for that trip before they did something crazy.
They working on that trip. A lot of times I'm away, I'm working, and I need to like figure that out.
Yeah.
Because it's not healthy. Like you need to be able to like take an actual break. But like I know that I'm like away sitting on the beach and I'm like, hey, but like I literally got my laptop
computer right there,
here.
like, hey. What that email said?
Correct. Like I gotta send these out. Like it just is what it is. So like,
Yeah. Well, speaking of working, right? Let's talk about entrepreneurship because, you know, again, your partners are in New York. You're from New York. Now y'all have a business down here.
Yep.
Is there any difference in having businesses from state to state for y'all?
Oh, 100%. I think at any time you are scaling a business and you are tapping into a new region or new market, you'll notice the difference right away. Like of course, you have to do the market research to even say that this is going to be a viable business in this market, because not everybody's the same. But then also you have to just know how to pivot. Like being in New York, where a lot of people in New York aren't from like New York in terms of like culturally, like you see like a lot of West Indians or Asians or Jews,
all of that,
right? It's really a melting pot, right? So when you think about tea is the most consumed drink outside of America.
Right. Okay.
Yep,
The
that's
British
true.
When you think about that,
That's true.
right? So when you have all these people that's like probably their family's not from America, like tea is what they want.
Yeah.
Right. So you got New York where tea is what they
And
want.
it's not Limpton.
right.
Gotta
Or
drink with
sweet
your
tea or
pinky
something
up
like
over
that.
there.
It's like culturally they drink tea, but America it's coffee. Right.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
coffee
okay.
is like that #1 consumed drink. So like when you go to places where it's like more so American.
Yeah.
And that's like their culture. It's just you gotta like figure out a way to reel them in. And once you do, like they're hooked, right? Like once you do, they're like wellness and it's good for this and it's good for that. They're like, I'm with it. But it does take a little bit more time than if you were, if we had like we want to have Brooklyn tea like in the airport.
Okay.
And we know that we will probably do really well on the international side of the airport
Yes.
than on the domestic side of the airport. And it's like people don't really think, but it's like when you consider like everybody outside of America like truly loves tea. Like I'm talking about Africa. Like tea is like what they go for.
And
that's
even good to think about. Even though I would think personally, like if you was to ask me that question, I would see why the international side, but every time, let me tell you something, I travel a lot, and every time I go past Starbucks and them tea shops, them line be long.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, y'all want some coffee this early in the morning?
Because
But
these
I
things
get
are
it
gonna
though.
always do
But you don't
well,
see too
but
much on the international side
you
too.
don't.
Right. So that honestly, look at that.
Listen, we wanna
marketing
be-
one-on-one.
We want to be on all sides, but you gotta know your people, right?
Right,
you gotta know
right,
your
right.
audience. Like when we open up schools, we have to think about like where does it make sense to open up a school. We are at Movement. We're very clear that we want to serve Black and brown children in low economic, communities. So if that's our goal, that's like literally a part of our model. We can't set up in Buckhead.
No.
Like that's
not gonna work.
It's
Yeah,
not gonna
in
work. Right?
Vinings
You
or
have to
yeah.
understand, like you can't like Alpharetta. Like you gotta be mindful of like
that.
where you're placing the school if you are saying that you're trying to serve a certain demographic, right? So like that, you have to know your market. You gotta know your region. You gotta know like where you're tapping into. So
Absolutely, absolutely. So with your school, right? Because you're saying you guys are North Carolina here and stuff like that, and when you started this, you said you wanted to help basically bring better education opportunities to kids, specifically Black and brown kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we have seen the educational system kind of change over time, in terms of like, okay, we started where we were segregated and we wasn't really learning, and then we made a distinction to be able to, now we can sit and we can learn, and we,
Brown
now we
versus Buddha
read it exactly. Shout out to
Right.
them. So then, and now we have it where we can learn about African American studies in school, but now, in this day and age, they're trying to take all of this out of school: African American studies, critical race theory, all of that stuff. How important is your educational system set up for Black and brown kids to still be able to learn the things that they need to learn about not only America, but about what our ancestors fought for and where we are heading to in the future?
Yeah. I think the first thing I would say is that this is nothing new, right?
Right.
Like if you try and take out critical race theory in schools, it's just called something different. It's just a different, like, at the end of the day, like education as well as many other institutional systems are embedded in them racism, and embedded in them is oppression. Like these things are embedded, and so the way that it comes out is just gonna look different every single decade.
Right.
But it
right.
still exists.
Yeah.
So I say that like as an educator, like I have no fears as it relates to those that are trying to like ban certain books in schools or ban
Kerri Ann
certain
gonna say
conversations in schools.
who's banning what?
It's like,
Who's gonna check me, boo?
it's like, and you've been trying to do
that,
that. Like,
yeah.
you've been trying to ban stuff.
Come up
like,
with another one.
This is not new, right? Like it's really about like, the resistance that we have to have. So
right.
we have the same way those that came before us had to resist oppression, had to
Right.
resist a lot of the systematic racism and things that were embedded into our institutions. We still have to do that today. Like there's nothing different. It's just shaped differently. It comes
Okay.
out differently. It's gonna be packaged differently.
Yeah.
Sometimes they put a bow on it and you don't even realize that what's
Yep.
inside of it is fuckery.
Period, right.
Here it goes.
Right.
But like it's still the same thing. But like the fight, which is why the fight is so critical. So it's like I don't.
Pay attention to the stuff
Because it's
like
like,
that,
we're still going to do what we have to do.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that we educate not only our students, but our communities on what is happening. Because collectively, we have to go after resisting oppression or oppressive
Right,
type
right.
of policies and laws and things like that are coming down the pipeline. We have to do it together as a community. It's one thing to educate children, and they definitely have a voice, and they definitely have power, and they definitely have strength, and so does their families. And we just need to make sure that that's the type of work that we're doing, so that when families rile up and say, "No, I actually want my child to learn this,"
Right.
right? But first, they have to know that they're not learning it. Or first they have to learn that like there's somebody that's saying that they shouldn't learn it. And then when they do that, it's like, okay, now we got to get them to mobilize and show like how do
Right.
we actually ensure that this is a part of our curriculum and is a part of something that we do. Like it is very important at movement schools that our students are reading books that reflects them. Like at the end of the day, you can't take away books that's about their experience in their life, because the moment that they don't see themselves in these books,
Right.
that's when they tap
Tap out.
Tap
Yep.
That's when they go, reading's not for me.
Yep.
And it's not that they don't know how to read or that they're, not intelligent. No, it's because you got to find a way to connect.
Exactly.
You
And
know,
if you're taking away things that they connect to,
Well,
Like, that's what, that's the problem, right? So we are very big on text that looks like our children, but we got to also educate our families that there are people that are trying to take away text that with characters that look like us. That look like us and that have experience like us. And like, you got to know that and then know where you then take your dollars. A lot of states now, they're giving families vouchers.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, so they're like basically saying like, if you're my child, right, you're gonna get a voucher for $12,000 and you could go to any school. You take your $12,000 and you pay it to any school. That's about to be game changing.
Right.
Because now they're about to be like, I want to go here.
Yep.
With you feel it. You got that voucher in your hand. It feels like power, like in your hand.
Yeah.
Which is real. I'm here for it. I'm here for that structure, because I do think that our families need to find voice, our families, but in order for them to have that, they really do need to be educated themselves on what's happening.
Yeah.
And also like what's underneath what's happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they try to put lipstick on a pig.
Oh, all the time.
And what you said.
And my issue is when we actually think
it's
it's
cute.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't even realize that it's lipstick on a pig.
No, what you said about the text being banned, right? It just, because when I grew up in New York, I went to Frederick Douglass Academy 4, so that should tell y'all what type of school that was. And at the time when I went, you had to take a test to get in there. It wasn't a charter school, it wasn't a private school, but they were just trying to elevate education for Black and brown kids. And I remember every summer for like 5 summers, we would have a reading list, and we would have to read books like The Life of Frederick Douglass, To Kill a Mockingbird, Zora Neale Hurston, and all of this stuff. And at the time, it never made sense to us as kids, because we're like, who want to read during the summer? Now we got an essay, now we got questions and stuff. But it surely helped connect us to our Black roots, our African American roots, and now it didn't dawn on me until you said that, like how connecting literature helps us stay grounded in who we are. So shout out to Frederick Douglass Academy for Ms. Bowden. I'm so sorry that we gave y'all a hard time. Y'all just tried to help us. Y'all saw it coming, we didn't. So, so that's why schools like Movement and the educational systems are so important.
It is.
This is exactly why. I'm 32 years old and I'm just now understanding why that hope and you giving those people a foundation to grow in that and not be afraid to learn, helping the community to learn, that's important. So.
It is. And one more time, major round of applause for Kerri Ann.
Yes.
One more,
Okay,
yes,
good.
we hear it. April, no.
All right. Listen.
Yeah, so we got one more segment just to ask. So this is called our takeoff segment. So in this segment, we always ask our guests to let us know who you believe is the next to take off, right? Get it, go here, take off. Ew, stop.
I wish I had a want, but.
Nah, don't do that. So what is a growing business or an entrepreneur you believe is flying under the radar but soon to take off?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so Benson Watch. I don't know if you ever heard of that company. It's a Black-owned company. His name is Marcel. That's the owner. His watches are dope.
Whoa.
Literally, here's the thing. He went to Morehouse, but I didn't know him prior to buying his product. So I was doing research. I knew that I wanted I'm into watches. So I knew that I wanted a new watch. I was doing research and I ran across his website. I was looking at the site and I was loving every single watch.
Oh.
I eventually, because I'm an entrepreneur, I wanted to learn more about the company and who was behind the company. So when I was doing that research and I was like, oh, he went to Morehouse. Oh, da-da-da.
Okay.
Right.
I end up just buying a watch, loving a watch. And I was just always posted. I would literally just always post it. If I was doing something big, so now I have this ritual. If I'm making a major deal, so whenever I go to the state board to try to open up another charter school, I wear that watch. I wore that watch at the grand opening. I wore that watch at the 1-year anniversary. I wore that watch. It's not now a thing that I personally do. So I will always post it and tag them, and they would just write me back oh, thanks for the love, to a point where I connected with Marcel, who is the owner. And now we're cool. It's just so much love that's there. But I feel like that's a company that I didn't know was Black owned prior to supporting. It was just a great product, and I love that about I love that about it.
Yeah.
It's like I literally didn't know, and to find out that it was black owned, to find out that it was more
Right, right.
You was like, it's meant to be.
I was like, let's
Time
go.
to tell time.
So shout out to Benson Watch.
She could have said a Rolex. She could have said a Gucci.
Nah.
Black owned, baby.
Benson.
And honestly, this is how we really became Brooklyn
Yes,
Tea
besties,
Besties,
because we wanted to go to a black owned coffee spot.
we
and
did
see-
say that.
Yeah.
That's one thing we said was that we wanted to do a black-owned coffee shop. I know across the street is Black Coffee, I believe. But something about Brooklyn, or maybe because I'm from Brooklyn, it clicked.
Yes.
Right? But every
Something
time we
about
went, didn't we tag? What I tell y'all?
Yep.
We gotta tag the owner.
No,
we
that's no. Can I say this, because I feel like if I don't say this is not. Shenelle really cultivated this entire thing.
Yes.
She said the whole thing about the screenshot and all of that stuff. But then when we would go, she'd be like, "Who the owner? Who the owner?" And then when she found out who it is, she was like, "Hold on." She would take her pictures of the coffee, and then it'd be like Brooklyn Tea, Kerri Ann Thomas. I'm like, okay, you tagging her?
They tagged. I said, did y'all tag Kerri
Yeah,
Ann?
she'd be like, "Tag Kerri Ann, stop playing."
And remember, this is before we even low-key even had a conversation.
Yes.
This is just us going.
So same thing, like every time we would go, she would take a picture. And like she said, we did most of our building there. We did our content there. We did our meetings there. We built an outline for our show. We did all of that. Like, so listen, if it's one thing, and let me tell you, this show comes at a great time for us too, when we're talking about the power of manifestation, when we're talking about passion and stuff, because we were literally having our sermon earlier with Sarah Rogers. Shout out to her. Okay. And it talked about like how if you don't have the passion for something, then it won't go. And every time we sacrifice something, what we're sacrificing is a little bit of our passion. So shout out to Kerri Ann. So we're gonna end it here because we could literally talk to you all day. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. But listen, y'all. All right, Kerri Ann, tell the people where they can follow you and they can find you.
You can find me personally, Kerri Ann T. Thomas. I go by my full name.
Yes, you better know
Let's
it.
go. Brooklyn Tea. Follow us at Brooklyn Tea. A lot of great things coming down the pipeline. Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way.
You can follow me at I am Shenelle Simone on all social media platforms. Don't forget.
And y'all can follow me at it's April B __ on all social media platforms. Also, don't forget to follow Flew Here, Grew Here on all social media platforms, FHGH Podcast. And y'all, make sure every Wednesday, 8 p.m., it's a new episode out on YouTube, on all streaming platforms. So make sure y'all go cut that, and we'll see you guys.
Hold on. We're known as the 2 favorite Brooklyn baddies, but today we are going to
The
be
3 favorite Brooklyn baddies. So Shenelle, without further ado,
Can I get a year?
yeah, we'll see y'all next time.